The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
First Wicked Podcast coming to you Tuesday noon, September 16th, 2025. How you guys doing? It is another week, another solo episode here on the Tuesday show. I am tired a little bit, sort of. Went to breakfast with my wife this morning. We got some car issues to deal with, which I'll talk about that later on. I'm done talking about that kind of shit, man. But how you guys doing, man? You guys, listen, we're live. We're here to tell a tale. We're blessed, we can get a roof over your head, all that good stuff. Making money, hopefully all of us make money, So we can't complain. We can't complain. There's people who have worse spots than us, and if you can appreciate where you are in your lot of life, but I'm trying to have a so you guys don't know this. You can't see behind here, but I've modified my studio. I've added some stuff here. I now have a big monitor now, so I read some of my notes. So if you see me looking left, or it looks right here, but my left, but you're right. Stage right. I think stage right. I'm looking away because I'm reading notes. So don't mind that. Look, the show's not scripted, but listen, we're doing research here, man. Because we're doing research, so we got to talk about things, and I need some notes. I'm getting a little older, man. I can't remember things or retain things like the way I used to. You know what I mean? And I feel like I was known for that stuff back growing up as a kid. I was known for being the kid that my sister always tells everybody, all the time. Shout out to Christina, my sister, that my brother's the smartest one in the entire family because he can retain memory and all this stuff. He remembers all this stuff and it's just true. I knew all the presidents in order at age 10, or age 9 rather. From at the time from Washington to Bush from one. So I've been known for that. And I still remember like stupid stats. What is for me now is that I retain some memories about stupid shit. Like things don't really matter. But I remember what year a song came out, or remember, a movie came out, and it's just weird, man. It's just weird. Things I retain. But a lot to get to in the show today. We're going to talk about the Charlie Kirk assassination update. So my takeaways from week 2 in the NFL. The New York Mets are just annoying as hell, and then WrestleMania is coming overseas in a couple of years, and that's a mixed reaction to that one. But I got to tell you, social media, I have a love-hate with social media. Let me say it. I love social media because I love the opportunity to connect with people. I made so many friends through this show. And not just through the show, but even just through social media in general, that, I maintain very good friendships. There's a lot of people who I've never met in person, but I've still maintained good relationships with them, and so social media for me personally, for the most part, I would say 90%, 95%, hell, I'll say 99%, has been nothing but positive for me. But we see the rhetoric now. We see what's going on politically, what's going on in the culture now. Everyone is on one, in the wake of the Charlie Kirk shooting and all that stuff, and obviously it's a massive tragedy. Whether it's Saudi or on the aisle, is a tragedy no matter what for me, because it's a life lost, still life lost. I don't care if you like the guy, you shared or didn't share his politics or his ideology. He's still a human being. He was still a father, still a husband. That's just how I roll. Okay, I wasn't a fan of the guy. But you're watching the rhetoric now on social media, and I got to tell you, man, folks, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. folks need to go outside and touch grass. I think people live too much on social media. I think people believe that what they read and what people's opinions are the be all end all of what that is. Like we spend so much time generalizing everything. Like if some left wing nut says a bad comment that may offend you, all of a sudden that applies to everybody who's a left leaning person, and vice versa with the right. If you're a right leaning person, if the right leaning person says something that's offensive to you, then you apply that to every right wing person. And that's complete bullshit, bro. That's complete bullshit. We got to get out that mindset. First off, a large part of these comments you read on social media, Twitter, whatever, all bots. Number one, let's start there. And here's what I told my wife the other day, and she actually agreed with me on this one. If you want to be angry at something, you're gonna find something to be angry about, because social media. The thing with social media, which I can't stand now, it's not even social media's fault. It's just what it is now. Is that yes, we're connected because we have more access to information, to people, to other ways of life, and yet we are still even more disconnected because of that, because of our differences, because of different thoughts and ideas and race, whatever we call it. So social media has really been in a lot of ways, like, I want to also say it's a negative, but it's been such a wash. It's still been a disappointment in a lot of ways because of how we react to it. Now, different individuals can handle it better than others, but I've even thought about signing off again social media, because it's not anything to do with me and what I say, and people not getting on me about anything for the record. But for my mental health, it's a bit much now. Like, I read these things, and I'll admit, even as someone as strong-minded as I am, I get very, not triggered, but it does bother me when I read some of the things, and sometimes I get to these deep holes and I waste my time and all this stuff. But like, especially this last week, I have discussed like maybe signing off again. Like, there was a time 6 years ago why my Facebook, for example, I didn't destroy it, but I deactivated my Facebook for about 3 months, and that was actually one of the best few months I think I've ever had. For a while, like I felt clear, there's a clarity, and I didn't have to be on my phone all the time. I mean, the phone as is a problem. You know what I'm saying? But I have thought about like logging off again. Now, the reason why I won't do it probably is because, number one, the podcast, I need it to promote the show. Okay, so social media for me is a benefit for what I do here. As a content creator, as a podcaster, as someone who likes to connect with people, I can handle it. But there are times where something like I gotta sign out. So do I sign on? Do I sign out? I'm probably gonna still sign on, but I need to find ways to be productive. The reason why I love Instagram, because even though there are comment sections, it is less, to me anyway, there are less battles on Instagram than there is on Twitter. Especially Twitter's a fucking cesspool. We already know Twitter is a fucking cesspool. So that goes without saying. Facebook can be much more regulated, though, sometimes over regulated in some ways. But yeah, man, I'm just social media is just really brought out the worst in some people sometimes too, also, and I can't stand it. So, but speaking of social media, we do have an update since the last time we spoke about the Charlie Kirk situation. So obviously, he got murdered last Wednesday. Obviously, there's been an arrest. I think last time we spoke, they arrested the suspect, Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, arrested last week, and is being held on suspicion of aggravated murder and other felonies. Formal capital murder charges are expected to be filed as early as actually today, when he's due to make his first court appearance. Now, in terms of DNA evidence, according to FBI Director Kash Patel, DNA evidence has linked Robinson to the crime scene. DNA found on a towel wrapped around the rifle believed to have been used in the shooting matches Robinson's. Additional DNA evidence from a screwdriver found on the rooftop where a shot was fired also links him to the scene. Now, in terms of motive and ideology, while a definitive motive has not been officially confirmed, Utah Governor Spencer Cox has stated that Robinson is not cooperating with law enforcement. Family and friends have indicated that Robinson's political views has veered to the left in recent years, and that he disliked Kirk. Authorities are investigating whether he was, quote, radicalized online, ammunition found at the scene reportedly had anti-fascist and meme culture engravings. Now, there's rumors that there was a destroyed note. The FBI director stated that investigators have evidence of a note written by Robinson before the shooting, in which he allegedly wrote that he had the opportunity to quote, take out Charlie Kirk, unquote, and would take it. The note was fully destroyed, but the FBI has forensic evidence of its contents. And what I hate too, also, like the assumption is this is politically motivated, and that's the odds, and I probably would agree with that too, also. But I hate the fact that the first move of defense is that, oh, he's a right winger or he's a left winger. First off, there was rumors that came out on Friday that he was a right wing, he was a registered Republican, and then that was followed by people that saying that he got radicalized to the left. Here's the thing: whether or not all those things are true or untrue, it doesn't matter. If this is the guy, if you assume this is the guy who murdered Charlie Kirk, he's a fucking scumbag. He should be put to death. End discussion. I don't give a shit if he's right wing, left wing, middle of the road, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. But, and this is what goes back to social media. We are so obsessed with getting and checking off political points that we have to know, we have to be confirmed that he's a right winger. Okay, so what? Doesn't matter. I don't care. He's still a scumbag. He still took away a husband and a father. A husband and a father away from people who love them, regardless of what you may feel about his politics. Humanity first. We need to get back to basics. The very fact we're the first, and by the way, the President of the United States has been very disappointing on how he's acted since then. His words on Fox News last week, I wish I had the video here, was disgusting. In terms of, well, both sides, and there's definitely radical sides on both sides, but the radical right is more, they react to the left is this and that. Okay, well, I'll do Mr. President. Okay, and I'm quite Mr. President for record, so out of respect. I didn't vote for you and don't really care for you. You can't sit there and say you want, unity and this and that, and then your very next sentence is, well, the left is this and this and that, and this, X, Y, and Z. That's antithesis of what you're talking about. It's hypocrisy. Stop. And what I'm saying here is not political. It's just common sense. Everybody in this podcast knows I'm very critical of both sides. Some actually say I'm going to go to the left. I do vote most that way because of policy. That shouldn't matter anyway. A guy lost his life, left his wife and 2 children behind. Humanity first. So we'll see where this goes. Obviously, we're going to learn a lot. One of the things I will say that's very interesting about this case, though, since there's a lot of conspiracy theories on this. A lot. You get stuff in terms of Israel and in terms of just other, political angles. And I'm not going to lie to you, because I have a lot of friends who dabble in that world. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't fancy myself a conspiracy theorist. But what I will say is this. I am open to any and all information. I am not ruling anything out. And let me tell you why. I do not trust the government at all. I don't care if it's a Trump administration. I don't care if it's the Biden administration. I don't trust any government whatsoever. Right, left, in between. And people have the right to feel that way. Okay, based on what we've learned and what we've seen through the years. The fact is that people out there who actually trust the government full throttle, to me, it really... It boggles my mind. So that's where I'm at on that situation. Obviously, we'll update you guys on what's going on with the Charlie Kirk situation. But yeah, this is where we're at so far. We'll see if I think today they're doing the arraignment, whatever it may be. Let's get to the NFL now. NFL. Week 2 officially in the books. I had another bad week. With my best bets. Now, in terms of myself and Zach, which we're actually going to record that tonight for tomorrow's show. The Egyptian Degenerate. But here are my takeaways from this week, number 2. Number 1, I know I teased last week, but I think through 2 weeks, again, small sample, but through 2 weeks, it's clear through 2 weeks, the Green Bay Packers are, at least for the time being, the clear number 2 team in the NFC. Look, I still don't think they are better than Philadelphia. We have to see down the road. I don't remember if they played this year. But to be the man, you got to beat the man. Okay. Until I see them beat the Eagles, I'm not going to go there yet with that one. I know people say, well, the Eagles, they struggle against Dallas and they struggle against KC, and I don't care. They're 2-0. They're 2-0. They took care of business when it was time to take care of business, and that's what champions do. And I'm here sitting here praising the Philadelphia Eagles, who I can't stand. Okay, but the reality of the situation is this: they are the best team in football. Now, Green Bay, in my opinion, now has made a case for the clear number 2. They beat Detroit week 1, blew them out. They beat Washington week 2, blew them out. Okay, the Rams are still kind of on the fence right now. The Niners are banged up. So to me, the clear number 2 for the time being is the Green Bay Packers. Number 2, second takeaway. Kansas City Chiefs are in trouble, man. They're in trouble. And here's the thing. I'm bringing up the schedule right now. The 0-2. Now, do I think they'll make the playoffs? Honestly, yeah, I think they will. Largely because of the Joe Burrow injury, which we'll get to in a second, will open that door. But then, what did I say before the year started? And it's one of the most amazing things the Chiefs have done since they've in the Pat Mahomes era. People talk about the 3 Super Bowls and all this stuff. The Kansas City Chiefs, since Pat Mahomes has been a starting quarterback, has never ended their year any worse than an AFC title game appearance. They've ended the year every season with the top 4 spot. Okay? Whether they play an AFC title game, lose it, win the Super Bowl, lose the Super Bowl, they're always in the Final 4 every single season. Here's the thing. They're in trouble. Now, granted, they played tough schedule to shoot. They played the Chargers week 1, who's right now the Chargers look the best team in the division right now. Then they lose to the Eagles, the champs, in a slobber knocker game. But their schedule doesn't get any better. Like, they have a lot of flaws. And I told you guys when the year started, I think this is the year the Chiefs do not make the AFC title game for the first time in the Mahomes era. Their schedule going forward is not going to get any better. Now, this week they play the Giants, who had a against the Cowboys. They should win that game. But then here's the schedule. This is not in order, I guess. Then they played Baltimore at home in 2 weeks. 2 weeks after that, Detroit at home. Frisky Raiders after that at home. Then the Commanders at home as well too. After that, then the Bills on the road. Denver on the road. Indy. If what we saw in Indy these first 2 weeks is going to stick. Indy after that could be a tough game. Dallas is always going to be weird. We'll see how good Dallas is going forward. Houston, 0-2 start. Maybe not as tough as it used to be. The Chargers again. Then a Broncos game there later on. And then the Raiders. Their schedule is not... Look, I think they will still make the playoffs. 2 weeks... I don't want to corner myself to say they're done with the AFC West. But based on the Chargers start so far, Raiders were kind of frisky. Denver's pretty decent. I won't rule out this yet because they are the Chiefs. They're Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, all that. But they have a lot of flaws that if they don't fix it, if they don't get a receiver, for example, someone who can stretch the field, they're probably going to be a wild card team at best. It's the division winner. But it is a regression to the mean. So KC's in trouble, in my opinion. We'll see how they operate next couple of weeks. This is obviously must win against the Giants. Now, if they lose to the Giants on Sunday Football next week, which obviously I hope that happens because I'm a Giants fan, then all bets are off at this point. Because that schedule ain't going to help them. And you're 0-3. The same. All right, number 3. The Mike McDaniel panic meter is now at 10. Now, I did share what I thought was Stephen Ross's statement was fake. At least I think it's fake. But it doesn't matter. The Dolphins in trouble. Mike McDaniel panic meter is at 10. 10 out of 10. Because you get embarrassed by Indy in week 1. He was already the coach with the most pressure coming to the year. Okay, then you get embarrassed in that first game after the shoot. Okay, people are already talking to get you out of here. Okay, week 2 against in New England, I picked you guys to win. You guys win in the blowout. You guys lose that game. Your defense like shit. Now you're playing Buffalo in a short week in 2 days. So you're likely to be 0-3 by Friday. Does McDaniel survive? The optics tell me that if they don't have a good game on Thursday night, that he's getting fired Friday morning on a long week. I think there are only 2 things that can save McDaniel's job, at least for the short term. That either A, obviously you got to win against Buffalo in a short week. That will definitely go a long way. Number two, if they lose, they got to play a competitive game. They got to be very spirited. They got to lose by field goal, where a game was like last possession, and Josh Allen is just Josh Allen things. Buffalo's the best. Is probably one of the best teams, not the best team in the conference right now. Okay, although I still think Baltimore's better than Buffalo, but Buffalo did beat Baltimore. So you got to use the result. So I do think that can be the only way he can save his job. All right, number 4, Joe Burrow out 3 months, but can he survive? Well, here's the good news. I think the backup quarterback, Jake Browning, might be one of, if not the best, backup quarterback in football. I mean, he did 2 years ago when Burrow got hurt 2 years ago. He played very good football, had the Bengals hanging around the playoff, hanging on the playoff picture. So it is feasible to say that the Bengals, who, by the way, are 2-0, so they got 2 wins in the belt already, to lift off at. But the AFC is tough, though. Like, you talk about, you're talking about, for example, the teams you talk about: Baltimore, Buffalo, KC, Chargers, Broncos. The Colts are good now. So, and the more concerning thing here is the fact the Bengals' offensive line is still pretty bad. So we're talking about like Burrow getting hurt, and we have Browning, but can Browning survive with that shitty offensive line they have in Cincinnati? The odds are they won't make the playoffs if he missed too much time. 3 months. 3 months puts you into like mid-December. Now, if the Bengals are hanging around 500, a little over 500, if he can play 500 ball going to December, their chances are pretty decent. But you're asking a lot here for that. But a bad offensive line, you're asking for a lot there. So the odds are for me that the Bengals won't make the playoffs. But again, things happen. And finally, the fifth thing that take away here, it looks like the Colts might be running away with the AFC South. So we had last night's game. Texas 0-2. Jaguars 1-1, but then they're not really all that good. Titans 0-2, expected. The Colts might be the best team in the conference, in the division rather. I'm not there yet because I got to see more. I mean, there was a little bit of luck. They should have lost to Denver on Sunday. They got the second opportunity to hit the field goal, but they look very Daniel Jones looks like a good quarterback right now. He's the best 2 games I've seen him play. It's not a career, low bar, obviously with New York, but he looks really good. So those are my takeaways week two. Again, we're only 2 weeks in. To me, week 4 is when I start really buying in some of this stuff. Now, some of the things are obvious. Yes, the Saints suck. Titans suck. We know that. Yes, Ravens, despite losing week 1, are still great. So are the Bills. So are the Eagles. Those things are definitely already obvious. I don't need a sample. But other things I'm trying to buy into, like the Colts and things of that nature, that we have to kind of like say, okay, let's see what happens here. All right. Anyway, let's talk about the bane of my existence, my New York Mets, who have now lost 8 of the last 10 games. Dude, so the good news is that they are still in the driver's seat for the last wild card spot in the National League. Okay, they are currently, I think, a game and a half ahead of the Giants, and I think 2 games ahead of the Reds, and a couple other teams there. They should still close it out. They have the better team of the bunch, but it has been a shitty summer for the Mets. Okay, I think this year alone they have 2 or 3 7-game losing streaks. I think right now, currently, they're, 7 or... No, well, they broke that streak actually on Sunday with Pete Alonso's walk-off. And what's so frustrating, too, with the Mets this year for me is that Juan Soto's playing well. Like, he had a slow start. Like, it's funny. The Mets had a phenomenal April and May, right? But Juan Soto played like shit. Played like garbage, okay? Everybody else played great. And then Juan Soto turns it on, and the Mets start playing shitty baseball. Now, I'm not trying to correlate the two, because Juan Soto is their best player, but the heart and soul of that Mets team is Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso. Okay. By the way, Francisco Lindor, he's been dead silent last month. What the hell's going on with him? Again, they should close it out. I think they will. But would it shock me if the Mets, melt down? No. Why? They're the Mets. That's just what happens. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. So I don't know. You got 2 weeks ago. Baseball. I love baseball playoffs. Should be fun. The New Year's strong, So, all right. One last thing to get out of here. WrestleMania officially will be in Saudi Arabia in 2027. It was recently announced that WrestleMania 43 will be held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia in 2027. This marks a historic first for WWE's flagship event, as it will be the first WrestleMania to ever take place outside of North America. People, yeah, by the way, North America, not United States, because technically we've had a couple of WrestleManias in Canada. The announcement was made by WWE Chief Content Officer Triple H, Paul Levesque, want to call him, in partnership with the Saudi General Entertainment Authority. The event will be a part of the Riyadh season, a series of entertainment and sporting events held annually in the Saudi capital. This move further solidifies the long-term partnership between WWE and Saudi Arabia, which has seen the country host numerous high-profile events like Crown Jewel and the Royal Rumble. The decision is also seen as part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 initiative to become a global leader in entertainment and tourism. Yeah, they're all in for this thing, man. You like it or not, they're all in. They're trying to bring Western culture into Saudi Arabia. I'm not necessarily against that. As a capitalist, I'm not either. Here's why I'm gonna tell WWE fans to be principled here, because there's a lot of mixed reaction to this. Obviously, there's people saying, "Oh, it's great for the company," and this and that, and sure. TKO, which is also the partnership between UFC and WWE, okay, who runs both these companies, they're telling you everything. In fact, they told you. The quote was, the head of TKO, I think Mark Shapiro, said that Vince McMahon priced wrestling events for families. We're not doing that. They're literally telling you that we are no longer targeting families anymore when it comes to what we're presenting for our audience. And you now, as wrestling fan, have a decision to make. Okay, if you don't like the direction this is going, the only way you can have any impact, any change going forward, is to stop putting money in their pockets, which means stop rocking their products, which means stop buying merch, which means all that jazz. Now, I am not encouraging you to do that. I'm just sick and tired of people complaining about what they're doing, and yet you complain for 2-3 days, and then a week later, it's back to business as usual. It's back to status quo. You're still buying the shows. You're still watching the product. You're still doing all this stuff. They don't think you're going to stop watching. That's why they do these things. And they'll take getting mad a bad PR, 48 hours, a bad PR. But in the day, they know you're going to watch. They got your money. They got your money until look. They got your money until they don't. So if you start putting money in their pockets, change will happen. That's what I got to say about that. I don't know if you guys saw the press conference last week when they announced this. It looked like a funeral. So they had like all different stars there. I think it was Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair and Undertaker, and they all look very stoic and very like not non-interested. They may have, I'm sure they have personal views about this whole partnership. But here's the deal: WWE has been in partnership with the Saudis now for a while now, so it's just come as a surprise, and they keep stretching. The next Royal Rumble in January is going to be at in Saudi Arabia, which I'm already bothered by that because I want to go to a Royal Rumble one of these days. And I'm trying not to be selfish in this thing too, also because WWE is not just an American company; it is a worldwide company. They do go worldwide. People worldwide outside this country do watch wrestling, but they're telling you that they don't care. But we're open for business across the board, which means if WrestleMania is going to Saudi Arabia, the biggest event of the year, there's no telling when they're gonna start putting SummerSlam and all these other events outside the country. Just saying, if this bothers you, and not just the Saudi Arabia part, it's more so just the pricing, what they're doing. They've told you as such that they're targeting solely the their number one priority is money, making money. Let me find the quote real quick from Mark Shapiro last week that he did that really should be an eye opener for fans. All right, I found some bit of quotes here from Mark Shapiro, not the entire quote, but here's basically from ChatGPT. Mark Shapiro has made it clear that he's taken a different approach to WWE business than Vince McMahon did, especially when it comes to ticket pricing. Shapiro directly stated that McMahon was primarily pricing tickets for families and wasn't totally focused on maxing the opportunity. He views this as an area with a lot of room for growth and intends to apply more aggressive UFC-like strategy to increase revenue from live events. This means WWE fans should expect to see ticket prices rise. Now, look, here's the thing. To be fair to Shapiro, I'm not defending him at all because number one, I'm against what he's doing. Well, I'm against that. I'm a capitalist, so it's your business. Do what you want to do. Vince, for years, because it's a family-owned business, it was territories first, and then it expanded little by little by little. His idea of wrestling and his company was more communal in that way. Whereas he's a wrestling guy. Vince McMahon is a wrestling promoter. He's a balls to the wall, wrestling guy. These guys, I don't know if they watched the product or they watched the product before. They are solely looking at this as business. So you have to separate the two, and they're trying ways to maximize profit, maximize revenue, and there's nothing you can do about that. What you can do as a fan is that my thing is if the product is not good enough and it does not meet expectations of what you're paying money wise, that's why I have a problem. Okay, they have also oversaturated the room now. We're getting all these PLEs and all these events and TV shows, and I get it. This is bigger than just wrestling. But here's the thing: I respect. This is why I respect TKO. They're not lying to you. They're telling to your face, we don't care about families. We care about maxing out the almighty dollar. Why do you think they WrestleMania next year? And that was between New Orleans. Now it's in Vegas again because it's convenient for them. They make more money in Vegas. Again, I got a buddy of mine who went to night 2. Okay, sat on top of Allegiant Stadium and paid $700 a ticket. Okay, that's not including flights, food, and he lives here in Florida. Flights, food, all that good stuff. They don't care because if you're going to pay for it, then that's it. So this is how capitalism works, guys. Okay, so if you want to fight back and against the man, whatever you call that, stop supporting them. Let them suffer, and then only then make adjustments. But you're still putting money in the pockets. So anyway, that's for me on this day, dated Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. I'm on X at EJChristian7. Earnestly podcast across all podcast catchers, especially on the audio side, but on the video side, the YouTube page at Earnestly Pod on YouTube. Clips of the show, of course, on TikTok at Earnestly Pod, Instagram on the same handle. A lot of shows coming this week. Look out for Egypt Regenerate later on, recording out tonight. They'll be out tomorrow on Wednesday. Also, this WrestleMania topic, we'll definitely break this down on the False Count Anywhere episode we're recording for Thursday. Until the next episode, we will talk to you guys soon. God bless y'all and see y'all.